Welcome to the Day of Wellbeing. So I want to talk about the difference between integrity on the one hand and honesty on the other, and how they're very closely related, but they're not exactly the same thing. So I had an experience recently where I had a breakdown in my car, not an emotional breakdown, and there was actually two legs for the recovery because of the different radiuses that were served by the recovery company. And there was something to do with the policy whereby the first driver told me to tell the second driver something slightly different from what was actually the case. And if I hadn't done that, I would have been stuck in the middle of nowhere with a suitcase, freaking out, not knowing how to get home. And in that situation, it seemed like such a small thing. No one was hurt. It was a slight white lie, if you like. That's a really innocent, well, relatively innocent example. Another one that springs to mind that's quite serious is, like, for example, during times of war, for example, during the Second World War, if people were hiding illegals, you certainly wouldn't want to be being completely honest with the people that came knocking looking for illegals if their lives were in danger and you were protecting them. So I think it's quite simplistic to say that, honesty and integrity are the same thing, because sometimes integrity might require us to be dishonest. Now, I don't think it's a great way to go in general in life. I think if you can be honest as much as possible, that's wonderful. But sometimes I think it can be a form of self-care to actually not create the tension that can come around if you're trying to be completely honest all the time. Like really simple things, like there might be an appointment that you can't make, and it's really complicated. If you were going to say the exact truth, you'd have to kind of explain, that it didn't mean maybe what they thought it meant, and that try and take account of their feelings, and they might take the rejection or whatever. If that's what you're doing, you're kind of saying, I can't make this appointment. And in a situation like that, it might be better for everyone simply just to tell a little white lie. I got a headache or whatever. Like I said, I'm not advocating dishonesty. That's not the point of this. It's just recognizing that there's some situations where honesty isn't necessarily the best for our own well-being. And I think we're often brought up to be kind of uncomfortable with being dishonest. And in fact, I think there's some situations where it's harmless for others to do so and yet beneficial for us to do so. And in those situations, it makes sense to, to be willing to stretch the truth a little bit. So that's it. I don't think there's like a necessary lack of integrity in doing that in certain situations where it makes sense to do so. So honesty and integrity, not necessarily the same thing. Okay, thanks for watching.